Welcome to Nobody Knows with Joey Johnson, powered in part by Deep Wax Productions and Classic of Denton.
We're doing it.
We are.
We're taking over, Gage.
We have
This
done
is it.
It is our show now.
This is Nobody Knows with Joey Johnson, but it's not Joey Johnson right now. But we'll get into that. Right now we want to talk about Deep Wax Productions.
Mm-hmm.
Who's letting us do this?
Mm-hmm.
Great bringers of Chicken Gate.
Yes, and what else did they do?
The 4-alarm benefit week that was
Nice.
just happened, just closed. They do a lot of great stuff all around Denton, all around
Yeah,
the surrounding areas. Deep Wax Productions, they're letting us do this, which we'll get into later.
that's awesome. Both Chicken Gate and 4-Alarm were awesome. I was glad to be a part of both of those things.
What'd you do for
For which one?
either one?
For Chicken Gate, I was on the Chicken Express side.
The winners.
Yeah, the winners, of course. And then for 4-Alarm, I did a show at Andy's and
That's right.
Dan's.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that. So, I am under the impression that you have prepared audio file for us. Is this correct?
Yes, I did. I went out and asked people some questions, and it was really fun and cold.
Jay, can we put those? Can we put the audio file up, please?
Okay, so my first question is, do you know who Joey Johnson is?
I don't.
You don't? You want to venture a guess at all?
I have no idea who it is.
Do you follow Denton comedy at all?
I don't.
You don't. Okay, this next question is a yes or no question. Just answer yes or no. Did you vote for me in the Denton Night Dam Awards? My name is Gage Tijerina.
No.
Is that for personal reasons, or is it because my name was not on the ballot?
I didn't even vote. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Okay. So my first question is, do you know who Joey Johnson is?
Joey Johnson?
Joey Johnson.
Joey Johnson, I do not.
I'm going to step over here for the wind. Do you follow Denton comedy at all?
I don't.
No, not at all? Okay, so my next question is, so I'm going to name off a few names, and then you tell me which one is not like the others, okay?
Okay.
Richie Flo,
Okay.
Joey Johnson,
Okay.
Gage Tijerina,
Okay.
and Kirk Younkers. Which one is not like the others?
I don't know, the third one?
The third one, Gage Tijerina?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know, that last name is crazy.
It's crazy? For what reason?
It's just, intense isn't the word I'm looking for. It's just like an elaborate last name. It's
elaborate
not as
last
simple as the other ones.
Not as simple. Okay.
Yeah.
Younkers is simple?
Yeah.
Because I just made that name up.
Oh, well.
Okay, thank you. Okay, my first question is, do you know who Joey Johnson is?
Oh, yeah, I know who
Yeah,
Joey
you
Johnson
do.
is.
So you follow Denton comedy.
Yeah, for
Do you know
sure.
who Kirk Younkers is?
No, I don't.
You don't. Do you know who Gage Tijerina is?
No.
No, you don't. Okay, so let's see here. Who's your favorite Denton comic?
Probably Joey Johnson.
Joey
I do like
Johnson?
Joey
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And you don't know who Kirk Younkers is at all?
No, I don't.
Okay. So my next question is, people always said that I had an ear for music and a face for radio. What do they mean by that?
An ear for music and a face for radio?
Yeah.
I would say very, alive face, ready to go, ready to do something great. And then an ear for music, probably listening really well, listen to things very good, and just very in tune with things. That's what I would say.
That's a very nice answer. Thank you very much. My first question is, do you know who Joey Johnson is?
No.
You don't. Do you follow Denton comedy at all?
A little bit. I used to more than I do now.
A little bit. Who's your favorite comic?
Currently?
Yeah.
My favorite comic that I listen to...
Here in Denton.
That I listen to, and he's not in Denton anymore, but Ron Leckler was probably...
Ron Leckler.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was a local guy, but...
Did you say you know who Joey Johnson is?
I don't.
You don't? Okay. Do you know who Kirk Younkers is?
Mm-mm.
What about Gage Tijerina?
I don't think so.
Okay. So let's see. What else? What is my next question? So I'm just going to ask you a yes or no question. Just say yes or no, no matter what the explanation is. My question is, did you vote for me, Gage Tijerina, in the DAM Awards for Best New Comic?
I didn't actually vote in the damn awards.
Okay.
Voting was extended. Yes, it's still open.
Yeah, I was going to ask if it was a personal decision or is because my name wasn't on the ballot.
Oh, a personal decision.
Okay. My last question. People always said I had an ear for music and a face for radio. What did they mean by that?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't know much about your ears. I just met you.
Okay. What about the face thing?
The face for radio?
Yeah.
That means you're not attractive.
Oh.
Yeah. People always tell me I have a voice for radio, and I feel like it's like a kind of slowly backhanded. They're working up towards the face towards radio.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you're going to be on the radio.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Okay, so my first question is, do you know who Joey Johnson is?
Actually, no, sir.
You don't. Do you follow Denton Comedy at all?
I heard of him, but I don't follow him on like social medias and stuff.
Well, I mean, just like Denton Comedy as it happens around the town. Do you ever go to shows?
I seen like snippets of it and people put on their Snapchat. I really haven't like been it personally. So
Okay. Do you have any favorites?
well, not really. I mean,
No.
I haven't.
No, I haven't been keeping up.
Okay. So I guess the only question that I have left is Kirk Younkers. More like Kirk is going bonkers. Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Richie Flo. More like Richie's going bonkers.
Oh my God.
Hey, wait, I got one more.
Wait, hold up. Wait, I know where this is going. Don't tell me
Joey Johnson?
Yeah.
More like the guy's bonkers.
Well, I know.
That made me so happy.
Glad.
Go ahead.
No, go.
Not since the 3rd grade have I heard Younkers is bonkers. It really brought me back. Oh my God! Thank you so much for doing that.
I'm glad. I'm glad I could help you.
How many people said no when you asked them?
Just one. Well, there was 2 people. Only one person said like no, the word like no.
Just
And that's
didn't want
all
to
he
be interviewed.
said.
That person is in witness protection right now.
Yeah. The other 2 were pretty nice about it.
All right, good. Well, I'm sure all of our tens of viewers are wondering right now why. Who are these people?
Yeah.
Why are they here? Where's Joey? Where's Richie? We're taking over. Me and Gage.
Yeah.
I'm Kirk Younkers.
I'm Gage Tijerina.
We're the Sweater Brothers.
We are.
Title pending. We're taking over Nobody Knows. Because, quite frankly, nobody knows who Joey Johnson is. And for the record, I'm Richie Flo. And we're here to interview them.
Mm-hmm.
They brought us in. We're the ringers. And quite frankly, this is our soft pilot for our spinoff.
The Sweater Brothers.
We're going to be the Frasier to their Cheers.
We got some riveting questions today for them.
We do.
I've heard.
I wrote the questions, so you saying we have riveting questions.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Because they're...
We meaning you. I have one question.
Thanks for piggybacking on that. I had another one. We're the private practice to their Grey's Anatomy. Nothing.
I've seen neither of those shows.
Big fan. I'd even take a Joey to their friends. Nothing? I got Jake shaking his head over there. Yes. Thank you.
I get it. There's like a spinoff?
Yeah.
Oh.
All of these are spinoffs.
I didn't know that. I don't know any of those shows.
Madison left Gray Slow Memorial to go... Anyway, I won't get into it.
Okay.
We are Kirk Younkers, Gage Tijerina.
Mm-hmm.
We're here to interview. But what do you got going on right now?
Well, I just came off of filming a film that I was producing. It's called Sankofa, directed by Jad Francis. It should be screening in April sometime. Everybody should go to the Twitter and and search Sankofa Film Production to follow and see when the screenings are happening. But that's pretty much it. Everybody should go check that out. It's going to be a very, very good film.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that because I produced it. Jad is a visionary, for sure.
You heard it here first. I guess my role got lost in the mail, but that's fine.
Oh,
It's fine.
yeah.
Next time.
I was going to call you. What about you? What do you got going on?
Open mics right now. I got open mics right now. Thursday, Killer's Tacos. Why does Killer's Tacos sound so familiar? Oh, Joey Johnson runs it. And then Sunday's Bearded Monk. But why does that sound so familiar? Joey Johnson runs that one too. Bam, combo. Got you with that one.
Very nice. Yeah, I'll be there as well, and we'll be matching sweaters for those events too.
This started out as a bit where I didn't have anything going on, but I actually do have things to plug. February 15th, day before the Denton Night Awards. Doing a showcase, all the best new comedian nominations, all the best comedian nominations. We are performing back to 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 back. And it's going to be a great show.
Very nice.
At Bears Den, I believe it is. Not quite sure where they're at, but it's in Denton. It'll be a great show. And then April 7th, I believe there's a show. We will talk more about that later.
Very excited
on
for that.
our radio show.
Mm-hmm.
We're taking the time slot, people.
Are
you ready to bring on our guests?
I am. I'm very excited.
People are chomping at the bit to hear about who Joey Johnson and Richie Flo really are. Jake, could you play us out?
Said no, but they were like, they had something that they were doing. The next guy was like,
while walking down the street, or like they people like to act like they have somewhere.
Well, they were sitting down and they were busy with like work stuff. So I was like, okay, cool. And then I walked down that street, and then I saw a guy that I knew. I actually knew him.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this guy will answer some questions. I knew him.
He said no.
Bit. He said no, and he was like not cool about it. He was like, no. And just like walked slowly. It wasn't even like a fast walk.
A grizzly, gravelly voice makes him not cool. How many times? I mean, every single time I've seen Richie do it, it's like every single person I think swear because they know they're on the square. They know they're by businesses, so they just lie and say that they have work.
Yeah.
And I follow them.
Sure.
They just end up here.
I follow up. All right.
We'll hand it back to today's
We're
host.
here for business. You think you can just come in here and strong arm our show?
I know. I'm sorry.
You're our guest.
I had no idea.
We're in the big boy chairs right now.
I know, you are.
We're here for business, you guys.
Actually, me and Richie are comfortable because these are the chairs we normally. We'll see. Richie normally takes this chair, and he'll have it over there.
I have like a specific chair.
Yeah, and so I would normally sit in the one you sit in, Kirk. But with the live video feed, it makes you a lot. It made me a lot shorter than Richie, and as you know, the obviously dominant alpha male I am. I couldn't allow that.
Hey,
when other people have their shows
as hosts
in
of
here,
our own respective radio shows,
we know.
But we're here for business.
Yeah, we are.
I'm gonna take it back because this is an interview. I'm gonna take it way back, not that far back. How'd you? Okay, I'll start with Rich. How? Because I know nothing about you. I have a working knowledge of Joey.
Yes.
I like bits and pieces. I get it.
How did I get started in acting?
Let him ask the question.
I read a book.
Producing.
I read a book called How to Act. That was
and that's what he's doing right now.
No, but fans of the show will know you do magic, but not just magic. You do rap as well.
Yes.
How did you get? I mean, which came first, and then how did you get started? On that?
When I was a little boy, I loved Tupac, but I also loved Houdini, and I was gonna be a mixture of both. I was gonna be Hoopak. But
can I say you do have a list of names of the most influential people of you in your phone? Those are two of them, right?
Yeah,
you have
for sure.
Tupac. Can name a few others?
You just carry that around in your phone?
No, he showed me like one of the first times we
Kenny
hung
and
out.
Spinny from Kenny versus Spinny, Darren Brown,
Howard Stern.
Yeah, there's a
Biggie.
long list. Yeah,
of just
good
people that
Steven
David
Spielberg. Yeah,
people that
Walt
genuinely
Disney.
inspire you. Just put them down.
Kanye,
in your phone,
Thomas Edison.
just so you remember.
Yeah. Well, because like if people see the list, they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
I get it.
He makes sense now. Yeah.
I interrupted that though. How'd you get started though?
I was spilling water everywhere.
Assist.
Hey.
No, so I mean,
sorry,
I loved magic when I was a kid, and then I always wanted to be like in a band or something, and so at some point I just started actually doing both of them.
But the phrase like I just started doing it, like what, like what was the
watching like
catalyst
David
for it?
Copperfield when I was a kid, because it was like these big boxes and stuff that I could never do. I would just be like, oh my gosh, I wish I could do that one day. And then like David Blaine came out, and it was like, oh, that's like stuff that we could, like that's all stuff that I could like learn and stuff.
Right.
And so like when I was a kid, I like had a bunch of magic kits, and then whenever I was like in middle school, you know, you start doing like one trick to somebody, and next thing you know, like in your last period, people are like, hey, I heard you did this thing, and everyone's like, what? You heard about that? And so I do it again, and then next thing you know, the next day, it's like, then you're, once you become like the coolest kid in school, and you're no longer like Gunther Wheeler.
We all know.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
In Weatherford High School.
Yeah.
The coolest kid in Weatherford.
Yeah, very, you know, they had an ethnic friend when I was their friend.
Yeah. But then, okay, so that's with the magic. But with the did you do you just start recording yourself or like putting it out there? Or like I know literally nothing about.
Well, I'm gonna give you the scoop that nobody knows. My dad
exclusive scoop.
Yeah, check this out.
Nobody knows what nobody knows.
My dad worked for a company that sold gold coins, right? In little bitty briefcases. This is gonna tie in.
Are you lying right now? I know him well enough to ask. Are you trolling our audience?
So in this company, my dad, like, these people would have these seminars about these little briefcases with gold coins in them, and he was like the engineer. And one day he like brought all his stuff home, and I was like, hey, I can make a song on this, right? And he was like, yeah, if you want. And I made a song, and he like, I was like, oh, cool. So he was like an engineer and stuff like that at this company that sold little briefcases.
Most rappers have an issue with not having gold before their career.
I was gonna say
they normally get it after the music. You had the gold before, and look at you now.
I just
zero chains.
I have a question about the you said briefcases?
They're little tiny.
These are miniatures of I have the Pulp Fiction.
He holds them between his pointer finger and his thumb, and he just walks in with both hands. Hey, Richie, I'm home. Papa's home, Richie.
It's like the scene where like they're like sliding the briefcase and the guy like opens it up. It's like
no, I mean imagine this.
It's like miniature Pulp Fiction. The first scene,
the little light.
The first scene, the little. It's a little light. A little laser pointer on his nose.
We good?
Imagine,
we good.
Imagine you have you have like 10 1/10 ounce gold, American Eagle gold coins, right? You're not going to put that in a huge briefcase.
Naturally. We all
Small
know.
little gold coin.
Wait, what was the actual size of this?
You know what?
briefcase?
Quite frankly,
not like that size.
Shut up.
All my questions are out the window.
Tell me more about these coins.
I need to
it's
know.
Called Family of Eagles. Google it. It's real.
No, I just watched Oceans 11, 12, and 13 back to back to back. So
I watched 11 last night.
It's so good. I fully expected. So I stole those, sold them.
How many are there again?
11, 12, 13. There was only 3.
It's only a matter of time until 14.
No, Ocean's 8. Starring was it?
Oh, is this like a Phantom Menace?
Mm-hmm. Well,
right?
no.
This is before.
This is his wife. or ex-wife.
Chronologically, though, it's happening
It's
after?
the fourth one, yeah.
Huh.
Like, he's gone. He's out of the picture. She's starting her own heist.
So they lost almost half their crew.
Yeah.
No, it's a full new crew. Rihanna's in it. Anne Hathaway.
They're all just
Helena
pooping.
Bonham Carter.
They're all in retirement homes just pooping in bedpans. That's that's what 14
sad.
would be.
But you thought I was gonna say, "Oh, I watched Now You See Me," and I'm like,
No. I fully expected you to. I stole the gold coins, bought a recording.
"Oh, I
booth.
wish."
No, I expected a heist of some
So
sort.
what did that song sound like?
Oh my god!
I mean, I remember the chorus being something like "Gold coins."
Stop.
No, I don't know what the song sounded like.
How'd you really get started?
Not
That's
so much.
real, that's
not so
true.
much.
I'm
rap,
still waiting
more,
on the punchline to this story.
Yeah.
Like somehow there's some word trickery
That's the
with
thing
a
with
tiny
Richie.
briefcase.
Richie's joke setup is funny premise, funny setup, funny premise, funny setup, and then at the end you just aren't sure. The punchline is you aren't sure if he lied to you or not. That's all it is. You don't know if he got punked or not.
I don't know how when the last time you just thought of some little tiny briefcase with gold coins, but I'm not exactly Cedric the Entertainer.
I wish for the podcast listeners you could see him snap, and then his thumb and index finger are maybe an inch apart. And he goes, little tiny.
They're so small.
I keep bumping
World's
into that.
smallest briefcase.
I think my dad still has it. I'll bring it on the show. I can't.
They won't be able to see it.
Oh my god! Not so much rap. More, you wrote a jingle. Just be honest with us.
No, I mean, so here's the thing. Here's what got me thinking about it. I went to one of these gold coin seminars, and this guy had a song that was like a parody of.
Wait, okay. What is a gold coin seminar?
A
What
gold
is
coin
that?
is seminar. Okay, so it's this
I don't
place
care if we
where
spend the rest of the
rent out a hotel ballroom
so
and a
here's the
bunch of
thing.
like
Most-
middle-aged men compare their doubloons.
Most
Is
people,
that-
when they buy gold, they spend a certain price. Well, this company was essentially the Sam's of gold, so you'd be buying it at a bulk wholesale price.
Oh my god!
I'm new to radio, so I don't know if this is radio gold or not. But
It is.
I'm new to gold.
Sure feels like it.
I mean, I remember we
I'm in
had
the same boat,
Yeah, he's like
and it might sink with enough gold.
He's talking about those American Eagle gold. Like I don't know what those are. I've never seen one.
Yeah, are you talking about reward points?
they're 100 proof.
This is like those infomercials, right? You're talking about like the sort of like collectible thing, but it's gold, right?
We're in trouble of spending
It's
the
just-
entire
it's
show
just-
talking
That's
about
fine,
these gold
that's
coins.
It's
No,
just
I'm
a
cutting
one-
it off. This
it's
is my
just
this is
like-
my soft pilot. I'm
Like-
cutting it off.
You can get like a 1 ounce gold bullion,
Okay.
right?
Okay, now I'm into the options. Continue.
A gold bullion.
was
A gold bullion. That's
Right.
not a real form of currency. You're
it
lying
is.
to
It's
me
about
right
15 whales.
It is. It is.
you
It
know,
is.
you
It is.
know.
now. Oh my.
So
It is.
y'all
Understand why I refuse to believe anything he says, and he's my best friend.
No,
This is
it's
the
like-
kind of life I lead of untrust and.
It's about 1/10 of a Bitcoin. If you could,
So like 10 million.
I have no reference point for
Bitcoin.
Bitcoins.
I don't even know.
But anyway,
Six.
okay.
All right. Well,
all right, let's back it up.
Joey, how'd you get your start?
My dad sold silver.
My dad sold comedy gold in little briefcases. I mean, wait.
What got you interested in not just like comedy in general? Because I mean, that's pretty like I like music, I like comedy. It's kind of like the same thing as far as that's concerned. But what made you actually want to write something down and get up on stage and do it?
Well, my best friends from high school, they own Denton Skate Supply. Bless you, my sweet prince. They opened Denton Skate Supply, and I used to be a shop manager at the skate shop. Before it was over here on the Gulf Station, it used to be by Killer's Tacos. Plug open mic 6:30 every Thursday, like you did already. It used to be over there.
I take care of my friends on our radio station.
Thank you. On your radio show. I love you. No, but so at this time I was writing a lot of like YouTube's like skits, I guess, kind of how a lot of like people start and just filming with friends, like very not like low quality, not like anything Gage is used to doing, like, you know, really crappy stuff. Yeah, there you go, buddy. Alley-oop. No, I was working there and I was just writing funny, and it was one of those things like a lot of my friends weren't as into it as I was. Like they were down for a good time, you know, oh, let's get drunk and make these videos. But it got to a point where I was like, man, I just want to meet funny people who kind of want to do the same thing. I wasn't in school. I couldn't like, you know, join the film club or any of that. So a girl walked into Denton Skate Supply at one point and she had a flyer for a comedy show. and she asked if she could hang it up, and you know, not knowing comedy etiquette, being new, I was like, oh, can I get on? She was like, I was like, yeah. I was like, I can tell jokes. And she's like, can you do 8 minutes? And foolishly, I was like, yes, I can do 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Which for those that don't know, like listening, like 8 minutes is a lot for someone who's never even done a minute of stand-up comedy. I mean,
I remember
mathematically it's times 8. That's
I remember my
insane
first time I went up, and I think I wrote down and I practiced in my mirror like
Yeah.
5 minutes. I rushed through it in 2.
Well, exactly. Okay, so yeah, I'll talk about the practice aspect because it's so much different. But it's one of those things like before you get into stand-up, you don't know how hard it is. You know, you see people like Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, Jerry Seinfeld. You see them do these hours, and it seems so natural and fluent. So you're like, oh, that's nothing. You know, I could do that. I could do stand-up comedy. And then you really get into it in the grind of it. So I foolishly said I could do 8 minutes. I did an 8 minutes that I did never ever again because it was the most Denton show ever. It was in a backyard. There were pallets on top of cinder blocks. That was the stage, and they had people registering to vote.
That
there.
just warms my heart.
Yeah,
a little
Christina
bit.
Olshnikianics though, they gave me my start, so shout out them. But yeah, like the practice process. At the time, dude, before that show, you would have thought I was about to get paid for my big Netflix special. I sat there, had my 8-minute set written out. I just kept rewriting the 8-minute set by hand, like hand cramps, like just rewriting it, practicing it in front of the MacBook like video and watching it.
Record it, like starting the timer.
Exactly. And when you learn the comedic process now, dude, I'll like barely scribble something on some napkins, go on stage and just try and figure it out. Maybe
points.
Audio record it.
Bullet points.
It's funny how you start, like how methodical you get about it. And I sometimes wonder, it's like if I still had that discipline when I first started, you know, when I thought like, because now it seems more attainable because I've been doing stand-up.
Right.
So it's like it's easy to get complacent about like your preparation process, you know. But I sometimes wonder like if I still had that like discipline when I first started right now, like how good I could be. But it becomes a point when you're like 4 years in, you're like, you don't, like, yeah, but like, but would I though? Because I stressed myself out before that show, man. It wasn't fun.
Yeah, what is?
I don't know why I wanted to take my first one that serious too. I didn't even know if I liked it. You know, I just wanted to be good that one moment.
Right.
I mean,
if you like something, and you're finally given a chance to do it. It's like when. I've never played football, so I don't know why I'm using this analogy. It's like put me in coach, and he puts you in. And you catch the big ball for the game.
The big ball.
And you
catch the big ball for the game.
You score that grand slam, and they carry you out.
In the All-Star game.
Yeah,
but it is similar.
Exactly.
It is similar.
We all know.
As someone who played sports, like your preparation like does like make a lot of difference, and that's something because stand-up, it becomes so easy to just get in the swing of, not even the swing of things, you just get into a what is the word I'm looking, you just get into almost a process of once you've done it, you know, every day for 4 years, it becomes so regular.
Yeah,
you stop working for it as much.
It's almost conversational in a way.
It becomes a part of you. It becomes a thing you were building, and then it becomes a hobby because you're integrate. Like you're with these group of friends all the time. You're hanging out. You guys are telling jokes, and it almost takes discipline to like bear yourself down when you're not at the club and be like, look, I really need to work for when I am at the club that I have something new and hot to bring, and I'm not just like out there like messing around
doing
with friends, you know,
or messing around with
getting
friends,
like a fresh perspective on it.
I actually just had my first time like actually like I got to sit down and I got to write something, and it's a difference than just kind of hanging out with your friends.
And it's not easy too. Like it's easier said than done what I'm saying, because once you get in the swing of, I don't know, there's a certain analogy or expression I'm looking for, but once you get going into something like that and it becomes so repetitive, it becomes a process, you know, it's a lot harder. It's easier said than done to sit down and write. Lately I've just been free writing, like almost journal entries kind of things, and then I'll go back and pick apart some things, and it just depends your mindset too, you know. This past 6 months I don't like anything I've written, right? You know, but then there will be a whole year where I'm like, oh, I'm just churning out like good stuff after good stuff. So,
and there'll be those times when you're like, I don't like anything I've written, and then you try one of those things out, and then that actually gets a really good laugh, so you start pursuing that, and then
that's why it's like crazy to see Richie do like the magic process as someone who like hangs out with him a lot, because creating new tricks, just like a new joke, I mean, you're starting from literally nothing, except you're, Richie, having to take like a physical thing and make it, or you're trying to take someone's actual physical brain and make them think a different thing, or and it's just,
and it has to evolve, because for me, if one person sees the same trick, it has to have a completely different outcome. You know what I mean? Than like, because if they see it together, like, oh, that's the same as last time, then like I'm ruined.
This led me into
which is so much different than a new joke.
Right. Well, this led me into my next question, which I totally wrote down and didn't just steal from Joey. You make your own tricks. Like, what's that process like? Like from start.
So here's
finish,
the thing.
like,
Sometimes I just like there's some tricks that are in my like act that are just like out of nowhere. I just came up with a thing and it just like everything made sense on how to do it like right off the bat. That I just like, oh my god, I have to try this thing, and I tried it and then it works. A lot of things. I mean, there's some things that are just like old principles that I'm just like putting my spin on it. You know what I mean? So like the way, like there's a trick that I've done this trick about 15 times, and every single time it's been completely different. But it's the same trick to me, but it just looks so different every single time I do it. And I finally got it to the point where I like am very, very pleased with it. And there's no holes and there's no, you know, I feel comfortable doing it. But I mean,
aren't there some tricks that are kind of like passed down though, like magician to magician? Unlike comedy, where it's not like, you know, Jerry's like, "Oh, I'm dying, Joey, take this." Not like I'd ever know Jerry's, but he's not like on his deathbed, like, "I'm dying, take this joke."
Yeah.
Talk about the thumbtack, Joey. Because it's so simple and brilliant. You know, like,
everything.
Where are the other tacks? Your pinky tack.
But Blaine might be on his bed one day and tell Richie, "Just make the thumbtack disappear." You know,
there's like a mythology and a history to magic in a way.
Yeah. There's like, I mean, there's definitely like also like a fellowship. I don't know if that's like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm giving away too much.
Aren't there? Well, it's kind of like Arrested Development, right?
Yeah.
There is a magic guild, right?
So I have like a group of magicians that I hang out with on Sundays, and we all meet up and stuff, and like, you know, somebody will be like, "Oh, hey, here's the thing I figured out you could do with a cup."
Gage is laughing. Isn't it so funny thing about us comics? We sit together and write. And then there's a group of dudes in Richie's house who sit together and figure out how to make things disappear.
How many of them wear capes to the meetings?
None. I mean, there's one guy, he wears
He comes up with a puff of smoke.
I know who you're talking about. Does he wear a suit to the meeting?
No, he doesn't wear a suit.
Okay. He's just always in a suit.
But someone will be like, "Hey, here's a thing that I figured out you could do with a cup, blah, blah, blah." And we're like, okay. And we'll spend like an hour all kind of working on our own little
cup
versions of it or something like that. And then like maybe a week later, someone will be like, "Hey, look at this." And then we like see something like, "What is that?" And like, "That's the thing that we learned last week."
What's the name of this group?
We can't talk about it.
That's the name.
That's
we can't talk about it.
We've said too much on our
Facebook group is we can't talk about it.
Yeah,
we can't talk about it.
So it's very prestige, and you know everybody can do a good pass and a good Hofstadter pass. So
they're all they're all looking like Richie.
Somebody just listened right now and said, "Oh my gosh, they know the Hofstadter pass."
No. Please tell me there's a test to get into the group.
Of course.
Oh, yes.
Is there really?
That's all I wanted.
I mean, like,
you get jumped in. We all make you disappear. You know, we all evaporate.
We're gonna saw you in half.
We're very
all at once. That's your jump in.
We're very honest. No, we're very honest in this group. So we, you know, you can't have people infiltrate. So we'll be like, "Hey, watch, make this disappear," and like, come on,
Gage.
We watch him.
This is not real.
No, this would be great. No, this would be great radio. Make that disappear.
Then I go,
infiltrate the group.
What do you think's in this little briefcase? And they're like,
little
gold coins.
Make it disappear, get in the group, then come back on the radio next week. Gage, this is the long con, is what we call.
What's cool though is if you miss a meeting, you might come to the next one and hear stories that are just too unbelievable. Like, one guy just didn't come one day, and like we were talking, and I was like, "Oh man, you missed it." And he was like, "What happened?" And I was like, this dude, like, we all ended up going to the square, and this dude started just levitating and had everybody like touch him, and he ended up like touching the top of Andy's and then coming down, and then he like taught us how to do it, and he's like,
"This is just happening around Denton."
How did he do that?
Why have I never seen this?
I know.
You saw me do the thing.
Best friend Joey Johnson
from the bank building to Wells Fargo.
Oh yeah, totally.
Oh, yeah. All right, back it up.
It's like a Chris Angel thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he stole it. I've seen it before.
We love him.
It was passed down from his deathbed.
You mean Grandpa?
So, you said
that me saying that's gonna come back and haunt me if anything ever happens with his magic. Chris Angel's gonna like show up at my door and be like, "Hey, Grandpa, huh?" Like,
so
you said on the Kirk Younkers show.
I'm taking it over.
The Kirk Younkers.
I'm the host.
Everybody knows what Kirk.
I got another question. I'm gonna hit you with it. It's a hot take. What are your inspirations? Because we talked about his inspirations, and he has a whole list. Like, who inspired you to actually,
Besides
like,
me.
besides Richie?
To like do
stand up.
comedians that I enjoyed. I mean, like comedians, like Richard Pryor and Greg Giraldo are definitely my two.
I can see that.
Yeah.
It's funny that like ask a comedian who their influences are and watch their set.
Yeah, Giraldo, Attell, and Richard Pryor, I would say, are like my three. A lot of people when I say Giraldo, they're like, oh, that makes sense, because I've been told a lot of my comedy's very roasty.
Yeah.
It's a lot of just like
I'm a
making
huge
fun of
Giraldo
things.
Rivera fan.
The thing about Al Capone's save.
He's so good, his little mustache.
No, but I mean, that's why, like, the 2 times they roasted me out here, like, as much as I don't like getting roasted, I enjoy roast because you get to roast.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my favorite thing about Greg Giraldo. Like, had he not passed away, I mean, he would be light years above. He would be the roaster as opposed to Jeff Ross. And his stand-up was really good. And it was always relevant, especially politically and stuff. And I don't really get like heavily into politics, but I do like talking about social issues and the way he would tackle
ice cream
those.
joke.
The way he would tackle. Yeah, I don't do that anymore. Because that was from last election. That was
not
from
on my
last
radio station.
But like the way he tackles social issues, that's why like that. I mean, I would say he's kind of the person that inspired that like straight white male joke I have talking about like on the internet how we just call people what they are and it's an insult.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, definitely Attell with like in terms of like quick pace, really tight, dirty jokes, and just the way Pryor's like attitude just towards everything is very what's given.
Yeah.
And he was just no holds bar, and I really enjoyed that. So just, I mean, comedians, dude. Like my dad, like growing up, would watch like Seinfeld in the living room, and I always thought that was cool. And I have all the Seinfelds on DVD. I love the show.
He really does.
Yeah, I do. And but just like little things like that. My dad was big into stand up. That was kind of when like Eddie Murphy came out, in the red leather suits and stuff. And I distinctly remember at one point, somewhere in the 90s, it was probably around like 97, 98, my parents were watching. I remember my first time eating Chinese food. I didn't like it because I was a kid and it was very distinct flavors. But the only thing I remember in the living room, like the picture memory, is Eddie Murphy in that red leather suit, and they were watching it on HBO or something. And that was before 1997 or 98. It was a rerun, but they were watching it. And so yeah, just little things like that you pick up on. I used to watch Whose Line Is It Anyway as a kid.
Oh my gosh.
And now I would never do improv. I'm not that kind of person, but I used to think Whose Line Is It Anyway was hilarious, just the way on the cuff kind of a thing. I remember having to turn it down because my mom would hear it, some of the suggestive thing. And first off, Mom, I would never pick up on the suggestive material of a Drew Carey hosted show. It's very subtle sexual references.
That actually reminded me because I forgot to. I guess I got interrupted. It's okay though.
All right, yeah.
On my show?
Yeah.
Who did
Not
it?
happening.
No.
Maybe on Joey's
Houdini.
show.
No. But like I remember. So the
Houdini. We're going way back.
So the David Copperfield thing, and then the David Blaine thing, and then my biggest magical influence, The Masked Magician.
Oh yeah,
that
Valentino.
Revealed
he taught me how to do it. I could actually do this stuff now. All I just, you know what I mean? I remember
his name was Valentino,
Valentino,
right?
yeah.
He's the guy that he wore a mask and he revealed the way tricks were done.
All
right?
of it. I remember not knowing that. I was just like, oh, a magic show, cool.
Yeah.
And he's like, we're gonna make this elephant disappear because the end is near. Everything rhymes on the show.
So you said his name's Valentino. Like, is that his real name? Did they figure out who he was?
Well, he unmasked himself, and it was like a big deal. He didn't want to unmask himself because like the magic community.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, I used to like be really into magic too.
It's on
like,
Netflix, actually.
and I used to be like obsessed with that show and
Yeah.
like that whole like
Finding
his
out who
story,
he was.
his story of like him being afraid, and then whenever he finally took the mask off, like.
Did you watch him on Diagnosis Murder?
He was murdered?
He was on Diagnosis Murder, the show. He was murdered on the show. But the thing about him was...
Oh, yeah.
Wait, I have a question. Was he a big booked magician before this?
Yeah.
Like, so,
Las Vegas.
So that's why he was hiding his identity. Why was he doing this?
It was a big show.
To share, he said at the end it was like to share magic. Like his love of magic came from learning how it was done, and it made him love it more. And so he figured like if he would share it, then other people would appreciate it more as an art.
And he's just showing like.
But you should watch
classics.
it. You should watch it because it is
fun.
very interesting when he reveals his.
I mean,
face.
you showed me some
No,
of it,
but
I've
when he
never seen him
reveals
reveal.
when he reveals who he is, it sounds like he's reading off a teleprompter that's like quadruple spaced, and some kid just was like, I don't know. Shit, he's like, and I'd also like to apologize to to the magicians out there.
What does that say?
To the magicians out there.
It's like Anchorman with the question mark after.
And then at the very end, he's like,
I am Valentino.
The great Valentino. I know you've seen me on Vegas shows. The thing is, at like these big magic shows, like World's Greatest Magic, they were like, hey, Valentino revealed himself, but like,
how did the magic community handle that though? Isn't that kind of the equivalent of being like a joke thief?
He was like vilified in a way.
He was, but I mean,
not super
better.
serious. But
I was gonna say he was revealing
even Dane Cook wasn't really super seriously vilified. Like Louis put him on his show, and that's the person who apparently he stole the jokes from. You know, like it's interesting. Once you have enough clout, you can kind of do these things. Then people are like, "Ooh."
Here's the thing: a lot of people don't really understand about
make me so
the masked magician. And this is what I kind of like. So you are seeing a way that the trick can be done. But if you watch another magician doing that trick, like a real magician, you'll be like, oh, he couldn't have done it the way that the masked magician did it because there's nowhere to
can't
hide.
Tell.
Yeah. You know, and it's usually not the real way to do it, but it's still a way that people are like, that's how two elephants.
And also, like, even if you do, I find that, like, even if I do know how they're doing the trick, it's still, like, the performance of how they're going to cover it up. And it's happening right in front of you, and you're like, I know what he just did, and I didn't even see it.
It's kind of seeing someone develop an act at an open mic, stand-up wise. You know what I mean? Like when you see it from the first time to like where it becomes after like months of preparation.
I love seeing that. How's kind of getting away from it? Like how from start to where you are now? Do you have a noticeable difference on your art, like magic wise or comedy wise? How has it evolved?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it depends. I'm trying to take my, like, what I do from, like, just walking up to random people on the street and showing them a magic trick to, like, a stage. You know what I mean? So, like, where I can just walk around with a deck of cards and freak every single person out, you know, that sees me because I am the great Richie Flo. Those people are just like, wow.
Nice plug.
So, like, you know, being on a stage, though, like, you can't, like... I have this trick I tried to do at the very first magic show that I did, and there was probably like 40, 50 people there. And the trick is I have a dime. It's the tricks with the dime. Mm-hmm. At the end, people didn't even. At the end, I was like, "Oh, you didn't really have a dime, did you?" And I was like, "No, like you didn't see that." And they're like, "We couldn't. We didn't know." Yeah. So I don't do dime magic anymore. Now I only do magic with 1 ounce American Eagle gold coins.
Which I will pull from this briefcase out of my pocket.
I mean, how I'm interested what your comedy was like.
Well, like I said, when I first started, like I did that 8 minutes.
A lot of frat jokes, I imagine.
No, my first set was like about like how much, because I was like, man, I'm 27 now, so I was like 23, 22 around then. And it was kind of, the bit was talking about how like, oh, I'm drinking a lot right now because I'm this age. But you know, like it was just about different ages and why like you can drink certain amounts then, and it really wasn't that good. A lot of, you know, really not good phallic jokes, and you know, just kind of starting. It just wasn't good. But in terms of like the writing process, you just like you almost become a school of magic or comedy, or even if like Richie, you do hip hop. Like I try and sit in a showroom, I try and watch other comics. And I mean, I think I've gotten a lot tighter in terms of joke writing. Mm-hmm. Like I'm very conscious of like not having words that don't need to be in there. Performance wise though, like confidence, I would say like I'm definitely at like my best, you know, when I'm like at those, when I do like shows at Hyenas, Improv, or like any of the comedy clubs, those used to freak me out. Now I know the right amount of energy, the right like tone to bring to that, especially like you start to differentiate things.
What
like I host a lot, you know, at the clubs, or I host out here a lot. That's a different energy than just if you're a feature comic or just someone performing. But you know, it's just like Richie with getting an arsenal of tricks. Like you just build an arsenal of jokes. And you develop almost this sixth sense the longer you get on stage to where you know when to pull out certain things. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I have things that like are stored in here that aren't even jokes. They're just like certain lines for situations. You know, like I have a line if someone is texting on their phone. You know what I mean? I have a line if someone like if I'm at the club and the checks drop and people are like filling out their checks, which happens sometimes. So it's like it's just. it's just like we said earlier. You learn to get more prepared, and
makes
then
it seem more like off the cuff and more of that improvisation.
Exactly, and you build an arsenal. You have weapons like in your back that you can just pull out at any point. And also just with time, like I've gotten better at reading rooms. I've gotten better at like looking at a room as a whole, looking at certain individuals, from everything to age to sex to race, like all of it. Just like really, it's what's crappy about comedy. You're judging these people like up front. Like I will make a broad generalization of that room and then assess from that, like what I'm going to say
what
from
to
there.
present and stuff like that. Are you guilty? I'm super guilty of it. Well, I was, and not anymore because I'm getting to be a professional myself. Whatever, no big deal. But in your early writing, did you pause for applause? Like in your writing, you're like, this is going to get a laugh, so I got to wait at least like 5 seconds.
Yeah. So like that's still almost like. So when you start out, you do that a lot, and you don't know if you're gonna get that laugh.
Yeah, no, I stopped doing that.
And exactly. There does get to a point where like I'll sometimes write something, and I'm like, oh, I know that right there is gonna. But then there's still situations that I write things I'm like, I don't know. So it's one of the. It's when you're performing it, right? Like you can't write for the pauses. Right. You have to perform them.
You can pause for the punchlines that you know are your punchline.
Right.
If it lands, it lands. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But
And
don't pause like, oh, this is gonna get a little chuckle. This is gonna be.
Yeah, and you and I are only a few years separated, really. I'm still like only like 4. Like I haven't been doing it that long. It's one of those things I think though. Like I'm noticing, like you just become a better joke writer, and you start writing things like I think eventually once you do get to that, like you're Chappelle, you've been doing 30 years of stand up. You're right. I think he gets to the point where he writes something. He's like, I know that is good and going to get a laugh. So then he can work for that pause.
I think the biggest thing is failing.
But that was my next point. Is it still takes open mics.
It's important to fail.
I did a show. It was like one of the first times someone booked me for like 25 minutes on a stage, and for magic, and I planned one trick to go 100% right, and everything else was iffy. And all the iffy material went wrong, and I just did all I had was one trick at the end that saved me, kind of, but I just wanted to feel that like, how do I get myself out of this situation? And then I would,
and I've
actually
was like,
oh cool, wow.
I've only talked to you maybe 2-3 times ever, and you've told me that story twice. Not a dig or anything like that.
Yeah.
I say that.
Thanks a lot.
No, I say that. To say like
it's getting old, Rich.
You can tell that was one of the most important shows of your life because you learn.
Every time my friends do bad, because it's magic, if something doesn't happen, it's not like, oh, this guy's not funny. It's like, oh,
exactly,
this guy is stupid.
And it takes failing. That was kind of like it takes going to the open mics and like not working out those pauses, figuring out like where they're at. It takes like not getting laughed at. I mean, dude, I had so many shows when I first started where someone would be talking or heckling, and I used to have this thing where I would just go, and Richie's seen me do it when now I will attack an audience member if it's warranted. Now I will really dismantle a person if they are really truly being a you-know-what. But I used to do a thing where it was like if I felt like, so new and insecure about my craft, if I felt like someone was not paying attention, I would just go at them. And it created a lot of like not great, situations at times. And that's like learning, that's failing. Again, back to like the reading the room aspect, like once you've gotten a good enough 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, 30, you know how to work that room. Because here's the thing is those people weren't paying attention. They were heckling or they were doing whatever because I wasn't doing my job right.
Right.
At the end of the day, you're going to have unruly audience members, but the better you get, the more, the much easier it is to avoid a lot of circumstances that I put myself in when I started. And I was just an angry kid. I would go up there and think I was funny, and then just get like totally dismantled.
No, but that's the thing that like I had having crowd control.
Dude, I had to get walked out of when it was Haley's Game Changers. Now I had to get escorted out of Haley's, my first paid gig ever. Yeah,
that's just a great story in general.
Yeah, well, I had a joke, and not to get too blue on the show because we can't. I had a joke about it was suicide, but it was pertaining to me and like not liking myself. And it wasn't exactly making light of suicide. It was just more so saying, like, I didn't necessarily enjoy myself. But there was a kid there who he started coming up, and he almost, like, charged the stage. Someone held him back, and I was like, no, like, let him talk. And he was like, this isn't funny. I'm a comedian. This isn't funny. First off, I've never seen this kid at mics, like, ever. He's not a comedian. He was trash. You could tell. And so, like, I calmed myself down. I was like, well, what's the matter? Like, what am I doing? And he was like, and this is what set him off. He's like, my friend killed himself last night. And I said, I was like, why are you here? And I didn't even mean it as a joke. I meant it as a serious, like, what are you? And then people laughed. They erupted. And it got to a point where he tried to charge the stage.
Yeah.
I had to get escorted out of Haley's to a point they literally asked me to put my hood on. And, like, they walked me out. It was my first paid gig. The guy, the booker felt so bad, he paid me, like, a day after. Then months later, I went to Rip Rocks one day, and I was with my roommate at the time. He was a drummer. And there was this guy sitting there, like, critiquing my roommate's songwriting because my roommate was, like, learning how to write music. Mm-hmm. And this guy was like, yeah, I'm a drummer too, so-and-so. And it got to this thing where he's like, you know, you look familiar. I was like, yeah, I don't know. He leaves, and then it registered me like, that's the dude. That's the same exact guy. But it's one of those things that's like that's in my fault. That's in my, because first off, I don't tell that joke anymore. It's one of those things. It's like when you're 2 years in, you shouldn't be telling suicide jokes. Leave that for the pros. Leave all that dark, edgy, because that's what a lot of new comics try to do. You don't do that, you know. And I mean, Gage, you're still fairly like none of you like try to be edgy.
Ride that line.
But a lot of new guys do that, and it's because you were misguided watching like a professional do that, and that inspires you. Like, man, I want to be able to talk about this stuff. You know, I want to be able to talk about these taboo subjects and get them across so thoroughly and clean and funny, and like get people to think about that other side.
It's hard to do that with people on your side on some sides.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like now, I'm just now trying to tackle social issues, and there's even things like I write right now, and I'm like, I can't. I have a new suicide joke. I can't.
I try
because I don't think I have the clout.
I have a question, sort of relevant, but off track here. But did you do like characters or like performances for your family whenever you were a kid? You as well. Did y'all do that?
Yes. Me and my cousin, Megan. Yeah. So like family meetings. Me and my cousin. She's a year older than me. We would. It would be literally that she would do a little dance part because she was a dancer, and then I would go up and like hold this little my grandfather had a train set, you know, and they had the little caboose with the logs in it, so it was a little plastic log, and I would go and do stand up, and it was terrible, just terrible, like
real taboo
why
subjects.
did the chicken cross the road? Because of poop. And so that was kind of
that was you,
you know, it's killer. That's
you wrote that
I've heard that one around the way.
I thought I heard that on Netflix.
I heard that at Laugh Factory.
Yeah, mine was different because we would listen to like a bunch of Latin music and have like maracas and do like shows, and then I would film a lot of now that I think about it,
yeah
I was a star in the
When was the first time you showed someone magic though?
I was like 6 or 7.
What'd you show?
I was gonna say, do you remember the trick?
Yeah, Kirk.
I was
wait, let Kirk ask. Wait,
I was
hang
gonna
on,
say,
let's rewind.
Hey, Richie, what was the
don't-
first trick you ever showed anybody?
I believe I had
Is that how you would do it?
It was like a little box, but it looked like it was green, and it looked like a big stage box, but it was small, and there was a little doll. He was like my magician. His name was Marshall Brodeen. And he was like, he went inside. Brodini would have been a better name, but anyway. So I took this thing to school. It was show and tell, and everyone else was showing like speaking spells, etch-a-sketches, talk boys, and I go up there with this
amateur hour.
Yeah, I go up there with this little box, and I'm like, "What's that box?" And I like pull out Marshall, and everyone's like, "What?
He was in there the whole time.
What is that?" Well, what the thing is you would put it in, and then you would stick these swords inside the box, and then you'd open it, and he'd disappear and end up on the other side of the room. So that was my first performance. I was like 6 or 7.
That's a pretty
pretty
pretty elaborate trick that you got there.
Yeah.
All right.
Mine was just
if it was a real person. But,
Mine was just like, look at this card, and then I'd put the top card in the deck, and then be like, oh, it's at the top again.
Yeah.
That was the first one I
You
ever
should have
learned.
got a Marshall Brodeen.
I think you should have got a.
Is this like a line of dolls?
Yeah, a box set of
I feel
magic
like you're
dolls.
missing out. All right.
This
so,
is my miniature man, and here's his miniature briefcase with gold in it.
No, I never even thought about that. That could have been his.
All right, I got a news story / game. There's news stories last time I was on the show. I wanted a news story.
Okay.
I want to catch.
Are we doing some weird news right now?
Weird news / game.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you heard.
Weird
Okay,
news.
very recently on Jeopardy.
Yes, I read it. Actually, let me ask you. The guy. Are you talking about the guy that lost?
I'm talking about the 3 There was on Jeopardy. There were 3 contestants in a category regarding football. Not one of the 3 contestants answered a single question
idiots.
from football.
I'm just kidding. That's
No, I'm
fair.
glad you.
That's fair.
I'm
for
glad
the Jeopardy
you're
crowd.
stepping up
Jeopardy
to the plate.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
I
let's do it.
have here the
Speaking
5
of football,
questions.
look who's stepping up to the plate.
Yeah, I would be better
About
at
to
baseball
score a
trivia. I'll
grand
tell you that
slam.
right now. Next time you have
these
me
are,
on your...
These are the Jeopardy questions that the 3 contestants all missed.
Okay. Can I start with 100?
Well, 2, 4, 6, 8, 1,000.
Oh, so this is... Okay, let's start with the 2.
All right. Clue number 1 for 200, just in case you wanted to know. Your choice. Do or don't name this plan in which the QB runs the ball and can choose to pitch it to another back.
That's an option.
No.
What is an option?
What is
a quarterback option?
I wish I could give you credit, but you.
What is a quarterback option?
It has
No,
to be
you
in the
can't.
phone, but
It's the
you're
first thing
too
you
far.
say.
But what's
miss
an
it.
option?
It's option play.
Oh, look at that.
All right. Clue
Your
number
boy.
2. Tom,
I was about to say no.
what is no?
It says do or don't name. I choose don't name.
No, I choose not to.
I ain't
Do I
gonna
still
do
get
it.
the 200?
I choose not to, Alec.
I ain't gonna do it. Tom Landry perfected the shotgun formation with this team.
Dolphins. What is the Dolphins?
What is the Dallas?
Who are the Dolphins? Oh, who are the Cowboys? Yeah,
Who are the Dallas
right.
Dolphins?
Yeah,
Tom
you want to know
Landry.
how? You want to know how I know? You want to know what the circuitry's like on this?
That's how
Who
you
wants
know
to
I'm an
be a
Eagles
multi?
fan.
Tell me yours. I'll tell you mine. Because I didn't.
Have you seen the movie
I'm
Who
so
Wants
mad
to
at
Be a
myself right
Millionaire or Slumdog Multi-Billionaire?
Yes.
Okay, imagine I'm Haiku. The thing about it is, I had a teacher who had a dog named Landry.
That's it.
Anyway, he's
Next
he's-
question.
I was dumb for that. He's the Cowboys coach that led them to all the Super
Yeah,
Bowls.
mine-
He's glorified as all hell.
Mine's a lot worse because I remember Tom Landry wears the hat, and then driving
Yeah.
down one of the highways,
Yeah.
there's a picture of his hat on the Tom Landry highway.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, oh, he must have been like.
Yeah,
Dallas
I'm mad at
Cowboys.
myself for that. Let's move on.
You should be.
I knew it.
So far, you're 0 for 2.
That is not true. I'm 1 for 1.
I knew it was the Dallas
Form of a
Dolphins.
question, sir. By signaling for one of these, a returner can reel in a kick without fear of getting tackled.
What is a fair catch?
That's true. You got
Man.
1 for 3. That's good. These penalties.
I'm really 3 for. I'm 2 for 3. I
What
got
do
the
these
Dolphins
things
wrong.
even mean? What is a fair catch? That's a thing that
They
you
wave
would
their
know?
hand in the air when it's punted to them if there's too many guys around them, and so you can't tackle them.
Okay.
Anyway,
These penalties are simultaneous violations by the offense and defense that cancel each other out. These are getting to be the hard ones.
what is encroachment or offsides?
Offsetting penalties.
Okay.
Offsetting
I
penalties. They
know
cancel
the
each
way.
other out. And this is the last one. As Minneapolis U.S. Bank Stadium prepares to host the Super Bowl, I'm looking at the Ring of Honor with names from this defensive line that took the Vikings to 4 Super Bowls.
What is?
I don't know
do you
anything
know
about the
Dewey?
Vikings.
That's fine. Purple people eaters.
Purple people eaters. That makes sense.
How much time do we have left? Because I have another thing.
How much time we got, Jake? 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Oof. All right.
Do
I
quick
have
one
with,
more thing and plugs.
All right. I have with me. Well, it's inside the actor studio questions. I printed them
I can't
out.
believe I missed
I want to
Landry.
pick the.
I'm so mad.
I can't believe I got it right. I knew that it was the Dallas
Those people knew
Dolphins.
none of those?
Why'd you write
Not
down
a
number
single-
5?
But I bet I would have known none of the others.
Oh,
Like on the whole board, all the other categories, I would have been.
what's your favorite curse word? Just kidding. You can't say that here. Scratch it.
Oh, okay. This number 8's good.
Amanas
Wah.
Tallywhacker.
Now we got to get rid of the whole.
It's a British curse word. Oh.
Mine
This-
was actually a curse.
This one's really good. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Wait, we have professions?
Bull.
Let's pretend here.
What art would you like to do other than?
What art? Oh, because my first answer would I would absolutely want to be a sports star.
Sports
Yeah,
star?
same. Except for I'd want to be the where you jump, the jumper, a runner jumper,
Track and field.
Parkour.
So,
A runner jump.
the
parkour.
long jump. The long jump?
parkour with the GoPro.
Oh.
I would initially say I'd want to be a football player, but I'd rather be a baseball player because you get paid handsomely and the health, like, there's longevity with that.
Plugs.
I'm gonna be doing
Plug.
Everly's birthday party on Saturday. She's turning 6. None of you are invited. I will be getting paid though.
Plugs.
Plugs. I'm looking at it right now. I am
Vote for me for
hosting-
Damn Awards.
Oh, yeah. What are you
Damn
nominated
Award?
for on the Damn Awards?
The producer of the year, co-host of the year.
For
Nobody
this.
knows. My group Wax Logic, honorable mention, Puddingtane. Also vote for Juicy the Emissary, Izzy the Kid. Shout out to all my friends. Shout out to everybody that's been watching my vlog.
Yeah, boy. Check out the vlog on Richie's YouTube channel.
Hey.
As you know, I host the open mics every Thursday, 6:30 sign up at Killers, 7:30 start. 6:30 sign up on Sundays at the Bearded Monk, 7 o'clock start. I'll be hosting a beat contest called Beat Off March 2nd. And I'm also nominated for Best
What is
Comedian.
that?
I don't know, I'm just hosting it, doing some time.
Where?
Bearded Monk.
Nominated Best
Bearded Monk,
Comedian.
March 2nd.
Joey
Nominated
Johnson.
Best Comedian, Best Radio Show here. Nobody knows. So vote for that. And I'm also nominated for Best Open Mic Host for Killers and Bearded Monks.
Bada bing, bada bing.
Do it today.
Nominated.
They end the voting today.
Best New Comedian. Hey.
They end the voting, so vote for all of us.
Before midnight tonight.
Except for me.
Gage. Maybe
None of
my
your-
turn for Best Co.
No film you were with is on anything?
No, but definitely vote for I Stand
I
Alone.
Stand Alone.
I Stand
Tony
Alone.
and Kenny.
Kenny Severson,
it's
Tony
really good.
Casillas.
I look up Sankova short film on Twitter. Message me if you want to make videos, any type of videos,
Do you make
any type of
videos?
film things. Yeah,
I wish I had known that.
I'm the film man.
Dude.
I'm a
Gage
big
Tijerina, the
content.
film man, at Gage Tijerina on Twitter.com. Sankova short film.
Deep Wax Productions.
That's it.
Shout out Deep Wax.
Deep Wax. Thank you for letting us take over.
At Richie Flo on all social media platforms.
All right, Kirk, this is where you tell them we're gone and we're here next Wednesday at what time?
Me and Gage are going to be back next week. 5:30 p.m. Denton Radio. No, it's probably going to be these
Without
guys.
these
We'll
guys.
see. We'll see. about
We'll let
that.
them have it back.
We'll see all about that.
We'll
Well,
see
hey,
how the numbers look after this.
this was dope. This was fun. They now know.
They know, now you know Joey
Now
Johnson.
you know, kind of, within an hour span. Thank you,
Somebody
Kirk.
knows.
You're the best. This is Kirk's idea, and it worked. High fives all around.
Hey.
Bye, people. See you next week.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. We want to invite you to join us on Facebook and check out our friends Deep Wax Productions as well as Classic of Denton.